We've been hearing from Iranian Americans here in San Diego. We've been hearing about them throughout the country. There is celebration. There is some dissent. There is a lot of uncertainty about what's going on. So we thought this would be a great opportunity to bring in Neda Iranpour, morning anchor. Neda, how are you today?
Very good. Thank you for having me. Good to be here. It's an interesting weekend for sure. We had a lot of sleepless nights, I will say.
A lot of
looking
sleepless
at
nights.
what's been going on. Yeah.
I have to imagine. We obviously brought you in here to our studio when we last previewed everything that was going on. And Jack and I were pointing out that discussion was really taking place in this sort of idea that there could be this organic regime change based on how protesters were feeling in the country surrounding the economy, and how it is that we were watching to see if there might be something that happens here. And the way that I sort of described what we saw take place on Saturday is that this is microwaving now. This is not the slow roll. This is very much the U.S. saying, and again, we're hearing for a variety of reasons, but that they are going to try to institute some form of change here with the Iranian regime. So for you, obviously we have covered your story, your family's, again, being exiled from Iran, coming here to the States, that journey. I just want to get your reaction to the news that we have seen the strikes. We knew that they were possible, and hearing about the death of the Ayatollah.
It's interesting because I've gone through all the emotions, and I've seen all the emotions among many friends and family from Iran who live in San Diego. So there's a word in Farsi, omid is the word, and that means hope. And everyone keeps saying that. We have omid now. They have hope now that this is creating some sort of change. Of course, as we're watching all of this, what is that change going to be? That uncertainty is the part that makes me nervous and makes me stay up at night wondering what's going on and trying to get all the information we can. But for the first time in 47 years, so many people now are talking about going to Iran to take their kids and their grandkids. Yeah. My mom was saying that too. And she was saying that during the protest. She was thinking this might be our chance finally to see this regime change. Now with Khamenei out, will this lead to a regime change? Does that mean the rest of the people in leadership of Iran are going to be out too? That part we don't know. Is that even part of the plan? We don't know. Yeah. So that's where my own, concerns come. Yeah. But there's been no question all along. This regime that's been taking over the country has limited so much of the Iranians' freedoms and their rights, as we've been reporting, and the reason for the protests and all of the people who've risked their lives. So at this point, could this be finally the hope that they've been looking for? Could this be the change they've been needing? I think so many people have wanted this for so long that this is, in their eyes, the most movement they've seen, the most change they've seen in the regime.
I mean, certainly. There was actually an exchange that you and I had today in our sort of to take you in here, the newsroom. We have a Teams chat, obviously. Right. And it was during the Secretary of Defense's press briefing where, again, in those initial remarks that we heard from the president, we heard this referred to as a regime change operation. And then Secretary of Defense said this is not a regime change operation, but the regime has certainly changed.
Right.
So for Iranian Americans, I have to imagine that is ears perk up there. We also have heard now some reports that the U.S. is trying to sort of mimic what was done in Venezuela with what is being done in Iran. And for those unaware of specifically what that means, is that the U.S. went in there, they took out Nicolas Maduro in terms of taking him into the country, arresting him, but they did not want to appoint anyone. They did not want, they essentially allowed for Maduro's number 2 to take over. Now, the reporting here in Iran is that the number 2, the number 3, number 4 have all been taken out. There's now a council, a committee that will be taking over. I don't want to get like, what do you want to see? Obviously, we want to see change here, but do your ears sort of go, you talk about that wave of emotions. Did that take you on another sort of wave of emotions in terms of fear that there may be a regime change, but it may not be the change that we would like to see?
I mean, I think in the end, the Iranians should have the say, right? And that, I think, is a fair thing to say. I know hearing from the president over the weekend and Hegseth today saying now it's the Iranians' chance to take this opportunity to then put in a leader they want. But that's not that easy to do with these mullahs. Like there's still this,
Could you explain that?
Yeah, the mullahs are the Islamic Republic leaders, basically. And they're religious leaders. Ayatollah, that is a religious leader. First it was Khomeini and then Khamenei. And so they have been in charge of the government as figureheads, but also as very, I will say, terrifying people who've allowed for women to be basically not human. I mean, they've been treated like dirt. I mean, and there's been horrific crimes that they have encouraged among their guard. And that's, to me, things like death. Obviously, they've been killing people. They've been arresting people. The prisons that are there, there's like we know laws, we know judges, we know courts, but that doesn't even, no one gets a fair say in their futures. And then to limit women from everything that anyone should be able to do, they've been doing. So those people have been in charge, and now a few maybe have been taken, but you also don't know behind the scenes who is there, who's going to jump in to be the next one. The president, Pezeshkian, is still a leader there, and that's been under the Ayatollah kind of ruling. So at this point, will it require the removal of many, many more? I don't know how deep this government runs. I mean, no one really does. And there's a lot behind the scenes that we do not know.
And I think it should be pointed out. I mean, this is a country with, estimated between 91 to 92 million people.
Yeah.
This is a very condensed, populous country with regions that go beyond Tehran
and a network as well. I mean, President Trump has referred to them oftentimes as the world's #1 state sponsor of terrorism. We know that there are affiliations with Hamas, with Hezbollah. We're starting to see these proxies operate in what is certainly looking like right now becoming a larger regional war. One of the things that you both had mentioned, and I want to actually play because we have sound, is President Trump's comments during his initial video that he posted to True Social regarding the Iranians. He had a direct message. He appealed to them directly. Before we come back, I do want to play that really quick.
Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Cut off a little earlier there, but I think that does get to the heart of the question, because I think Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said, and I said this earlier, they said that they've learned the lessons of Iraq. And I think it harkens back to the images of Mission Accomplished, where you took out Saddam Hussein, but now we have a power vacuum. And how do we fill that up? Is that something that requires an American presence? Is that something that we truly can leave to the people of Iran? Obviously, we've had some names that have been thrown around. We have the son of the former Shah Pahlavi.
Right.
He's been lobbying to be reinstalled as the leader. Have we heard anything from him at this moment?
Certainly been outspoken during the protests. We talked about him. His name is everywhere in all the rallies that you see here in the U.S. and around the world. That is the name that a lot of Iranians' support to become the new leader. And just 2 days ago, when the attacks initially happened, he did say, now the bloodthirsty despot of our times is gone, with Ali Khamenei referring to the Ayatollah. And he also says this may be the beginning of our great national celebration, but it's not the end of the road. Remain vigilant and prepared. So he's speaking to so many Iranian supporters of his. And he's talking about, at this point, he's the name that people have said, but he's also been in exile. So what will it take for him to become possibly the leader of Iran? I know that's the hope of many, and I don't know what it's going to take to do that. I mean, will the U.S. need to also then support him to give him that power? Because how do you go into a country you've been kicked out of, your family, your father's been kicked out of, and then take over? It's going to take a complete, disappearance of the current regime. They need to all be gone and lose all their power before there can be a new power.
Because while again, this latest regime, obviously we can all look back and point out to the atrocities that were committed. There is still a faction of Iranian population that supported.
We've seen them in protest over the weekend.
Right.
By choice is a question. I will say, there you do see videos from Iran TV, government-run TV, showing their supporters of the regime, and it's questioned as
the legitimacy of
the legitimacy.
Is that an operation
Were
of
they
the state
forced
itself?
to do that in exchange for what? Right. So there's a lot of that is brought up among
We remember
many
seeing
Iranians.
counter protests during the mass protests just a few months ago.
I guess I was more so referring to those who are still in government, right? Like who are still as part of this. And so I think one of the things that potentially you would have to see is some sort of security guarantee for whoever it is were to step in. And is that something that Israel or the U.S. is involved in? And to what extent? I mean, you mentioned again Iran and the people. They deserve to choose who it is that will be their next leader, or what it is that Iran will look like here moving forward. But I think that for that person, they also then have to weigh what may be the danger because I don't get the impression, and we may even be getting too far ahead of ourselves at this point now. We don't know if this could truly be treated like a Venezuela situation where there is a cutoff of the attacks and we're left to see sort of what reforms here from the rubble.
Right. And that's where I think for the Iranians that are there who have been wanting this regime gone, is there someone there, not necessarily Pahlavi's name, but is there someone else? I don't know. And I mean, is there going to be a vote one day, right?
Yeah,
the idea of, wow, could you imagine voting in your next leader? And what a concept.
Right.
It's something we do and we appreciate and living here and having that choice. And, I think as President Trump just said in that soundbite you aired, he's leaving up to the Iranian people, but how easy is it for them to have that say? And that's where right now, obviously, I don't know what that's going to take, but that is the omid for everyone, right? They want
is that something that's
say.
feasible? Because you're eliminating the whole state infrastructure.
Yeah.
If let's assume they achieve what they say is their military goal, which part of it is, neutralizing the missile program, nuclear ambitions, long-standing hostility towards the United States. Those are deep ingrained stuff. You got to eliminate a lot to eliminate that. So will they be around to help prop that up? Obviously there's, you gotta pitch that message abroad and here at home, because there are stark political reactions here. According to this, we've seen a lot of Republicans support the president. We've seen some Republicans and a lot of Democrats criticize the president, especially this idea of, nation building, no new wars. President Trump ran as a peace president. So I think it's actually a good time to kind of talk about some of the polling and some of the reactions from Washington, right?
Yeah, I mean, so what we've seen essentially is that public approval in the U.S. for the conflict, it remains low. And with polls showing significant more disapproval than support. Reuters from yesterday say 27% of Americans approved of the strikes. Meanwhile, 43% disapproved and 29% were not sure. I think that 29% there, that's very interesting, because I think that's a very much a wait and see approach here to what it is.
What's going to happen next,
what's going to happen.
And I mean, it is interesting, for example, right here at Claremont in front of Balboa Market, massive party basically that happened Saturday after the news of the attacks. I can't tell you how many people were congratulating each other, hugging, kissing. I mean, they brought a DJ out there dancing. There's that feeling of celebration that Khamenei is out. And then the big question mark, I think, for a lot of people, what next, right? But in the middle of all of that, there's a lot of praise for the attacks. And so that's where, because Khomeini was so, obviously disliked, and the horrific crimes he basically had on the Iranians, people were celebrating that he's gone. And I think there's reason for that, right? Nobody wants war. I mean, I assume a lot of people do not want war. They don't choose war. They don't choose death. But when a country's been limited for so long and stripped away of who they are for so long, this being the best hope right now kind of goes to show how hard it's been, right? I mean, I think that's, if anything, that's the message so many Iranians want to share. They're not choosing. It's not a right or wrong. It's so complicated. There's so much gray. We can't just pick this person and that person. It's so much history there. But in the end, this is the best case scenario. Considering everything
certainly
else,
what they
I don't know.
hope.
Compared to what it was. Right. Compared to finally getting a say in what their future looks like, or the chance to go back there for so many of us who live here.
I think, Jack, you actually, I think this is just the video that you have pulled up here.
We have
or is this going to be the sound as well?
Yeah, we have some sound.
Let's go. I think the sound, this is sound that, if I'm correct here, that we had as part of my reporting here today. This is actually, I thought this was remarkable. This was a U.S. Army veteran who was an Iranian American who was at this protest, who had
we have sound from both a pro protest and a anti-protest.
So let's go ahead and play those. And I want to point out some things that I saw in the video of both. But if you want to go ahead and play that.
Today, to know that this dictator has been taken out from this world and the people of Iran will hopefully be able to be free now. It's amazing for me as an Iranian American, as an Army veteran who served this country, to know that I'll be able to go visit Iran now.
It's very concerning when, instead of prioritizing people here and the issues that our American citizens here are facing, instead we're deciding that we want to go fund wars in other countries.
Yeah. So again, two key things that I wanted to point out here. Obviously, this is now the demonstration that we saw here in Claremont. I had friends that were texting me out of LA, San Diego, in the immediate aftermath, and they were pointing out the amount of the Iranian flags that they were seeing, and the very key there that this was the previous
the lion
with the lion, that symbol there of returning. But then also, I was struck by the amount of flags representing Israel as well too. Obviously, currently, these are two countries that are at odds with each other. Obviously, that is a huge reason why Israel is involved in this. As a matter of their national security, they have been saying for decades that they have been attacked through proxies, through official, Iran in Israel. I mean, to see those two flags though, the previous Iran regime flag, and to see Israel, that represents what I think what a lot of people, as you said before, best case scenario, also in terms of sort of global relations there in the Middle East.
Because they had good relations prior to the Iranian Revolution.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it's
much more friendlier compared, right?
It's the Islamic Republic regime they don't get along with, right? That they also want to see gone. And I think for so many people who live in the Middle East, they want that gone. I mean, there's so many limitations, obviously, that they've put on not just Iran, but so many other places. And then the idea of them having all these weapons and being able to attack. And obviously, people in Israel now are also sheltering from bombs and all the things that are now happening between the two. So to see that regime gone, I think benefits many other countries. And they do view that as their way of eventually getting peace in the area. I mean, when you get rid of these terrorist organizations and the leaders of them, at least, there's hope that can subside. But as we know in the region, that is a huge ask, very complicated, very difficult to do because there's so many of these like sleeper cell situations, and you know, people are coming up with other plans that we don't know about.
And we saw that, and that's something that critics are pointing out here, that this might be a situation where this isn't as cut and dry as a military operation that can only be conducted in Iran, that this will spill out into neighboring regions. We saw that as well too. Gulf states have been hit by missiles. Obviously there have been a huge amount of concerns and calls for some sort of like defense coordination between the Gulf states, trying to figure out exactly what can happen, but then also to try to keep civilian areas out of it. This is something that I talked about just a short time ago, Neda, before you came on, but the images of, you know, I believe it's the tallest skyscraper in, is it in Abu Dhabi, in Saudi Arabia, where you saw a drone get dangerously close there. Again, these are civilian areas, but as we know with Iran, and as I brought on some of the analysis there that I heard from previous members of the Obama administration, is that Iran is seemingly, again, just sort of going, if we go, we're going to try to do as much damage as we can before we go. And that is seemingly the strategy. Real quick, before we sort of put a bow in this conversation, and this is definitely going to be we're going to come back and check, because this is likely going to
President
continue.
Trump said 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And he said he's ready to go further if the circumstances make it to where that is the case.
I do want to ask you about specifically receiving the news and your initial conversation with your mother. Your mother has obviously been such a huge part of your story here. And so was it Friday night, early Saturday morning, or was it just you woke up Saturday morning to the news? Yeah, take me through it.
So waking up Saturday morning, there were texts, there were all the things, and you go on your Instagram and there's like all these DMs from people that are celebrating. I mean, and I will say my family is now speaking of when we will all go visit. And they're like, I'm telling my kids how beautiful Iran was. Like there's the Caspian Sea. We can go see snow on the mountains. And, we'll get to do this one day. And there's that idea of, is this real? Like, can we really actually go visit, like book flights to go to Iran, which never in my lifetime have I ever talked to my mom about this. But on Saturday, I mean, she was to the point of like shaking from the possibilities, like just thinking about, what if, like, she can go to her old neighborhood that she grew up in to see her school, to see Tehran University? I mean, these are places that were so pivotal in her childhood and upbringing. And it gives me chills to think about. And that is, I think, what think about it. So many Iranians that left in 1979, 1980 are here in America and around the world. They had to leave because they couldn't stay there. It wasn't safe. They left. And now, for this many years, could it possibly be where you can book a flight and go visit Iran? I mean, that idea still to this day, I can't even fathom. I mean, I would love to be able to do it when it's safe to do so, right?
And it's one of those things where I was speaking with a family member from my wife's side of the family about they're on this cross-country road trip, and they stopped like where their grandfather was born, and they went and visited and all these things. And that is such a uniquely American thing that obviously generations upon generations here. You and I, though, also uniquely American in the American immigration story, share that, right? Where I have never talked about going back to Cuba, where my mother's family is from. And I get excited for you at the idea of, again, there being an Iran that you guys can safely go back to because for a lot of people, we can't go see where our grandparents grew up, or our parents even, to an extent.
And
obviously,
the stories
you being
they
first generation,
share, you think about, wow, that was your life, and that was such a huge part of who you are today. They bring their cultures here, which I'm so glad, right?
Uniquely American, right?
Exactly. We all get to share such special qualities because of the way they were raised and what they share. And so those memories, like, sure, I would love to show my kids, like, this is where grandma used to go to school, and as a female was respected and appreciated, her education fully supported. There was a time that was real.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly do hope, obviously, for the best